So this week's episode of Villainess level 99, honestly, probably the most development and honesty we've had from Emilia. Even if she does revert to assuming a lot of those feelings are that of friendship, our girl's a little simple-minded when it comes to social interactions. We gotta take the W's when they are there. We get some interesting reveals. I mean, apparently the whole Demon Lord situation only affects one kingdom, which is honestly kind of a bit of a curveball because really, most places in the world could literally just avoid it and say good luck with that, so it doesn't really matter. But it also makes sense that other kingdoms would scout someone who's literally as powerful as her if she's casually summoning the Black Hole of Death, and doing it without much struggle. But overall, they end the episode in a way that I honestly don't know where I'm convinced it's going. So when you have a character who has as psycho of eyes as Alicia did at the end of this episode, that could be brainwashing, that could be someone, manipulating a mind. That could just be her off her rocker, gone complete batshit crazy, or there's a third option that I'm not thinking of. I don't know, it could just be determination and focus and she just has those psycho Higurashi eyes. Either way, actually a very eventful episode that progresses quite a bit. It's probably one of the least funny episodes because it's pretty much like, it's all about character interactions, it's all about kind of setup and, getting a lot of these moments progressed a bit further, whether that's our tutoring job, whether that's the growing relationship between Patrick and Emilia. Honestly, some pretty good stuff, and hell, even Edwin surprised me in this episode. I have a full live reaction to this week's episode, though, over on my Patreon. If you want to see my full link of thoughts, they're over there if you're interested. Honestly, let's talk about Edwin first, because, I know a lot of people hate the Three Stooges. That's, pretty much what I've seen a lot of people refer to them as. Overall, though, I've seen them start opening up a bit more and progress out of their cliche kind of romance path that the visual novel would have went with, and I've enjoyed where they've gone in recent episodes. The only one who really hasn't impressed would be Edwin, which in this episode, while I was skeptical and probably still am skeptical leaving this episode, I actually think there was a genuine sense there of like, oh, I'm trying to be nice because Patrick has actually, probably day after day for how many weeks has been trying to convince me, and actually he seems to be right. And it honestly seems genuine, it really does. Granted, it's a very rocky relationship with all three of them. I mean, you could see how they barged in and demanded to know where Alicia ended up going, and they were kind of like a little feisty with her before backing down, so one wrong move could probably set them off their rocker again and cause them to be absolute D-bags. But as it stands, it seems like all three of them are actually pretty okay with her at this point, which is more than you could ask for in a show with how it all started with her supposed to be the hidden boss, and I mean, when you look at it from certain characters' perspectives, she's literally a blob of evil aura. It's understandable why people would be spooked of her, especially if she's casually bringing a giant dragon to school and she thinks it's adorable, or she summons black holes because she can. Yeah, I think discrimination against her makes a lot of sense if I'm being honest. But the way they've gone about kind of like making them a little more neutral towards each other and willing to help, like, hey, I want to work with you when you go hunt down the Demon Lord, is actually some nice progression. But the interesting thing for me about this episode was actually how she interacted with Patrick and her feelings towards Patrick, because we knew our boy was head over heels. He's convinced he's sticking his dick into crazy, and he's bound and determined to keep on training and get to that objective. For her, she can't read a room to save her life. However, she actually was making some decent progress with her own emotions, and honestly, throughout the episode, she was doing pretty well. Like, she was getting embarrassed, she was worried about, does he have a girlfriend? And overall, she was actually progressing to the whole I like Patrick before kind of tripping and falling on her face and saying, actually, it's friendship what I'm feeling. It's like, the fact that you friend-zoned yourself is honestly kind of hilarious, but I love that about you, Emilia. Please never change. I don't know, though, where we're going with the whole hidden boss concept, because in terms of the game, they defeat the Demon Lord, and then Emilia is the hidden boss. But we're in a situation where characters like Patrick, who probably had no influence in the story at all, are now the core character that's changing everything. So are we going to turn a character that used to be a hero into the hidden boss? Is the hidden boss just not going to exist? What are we actually trying to build up here? It's honestly impossible to say for sure, because at this point, while it shares similarities to the game she talks about, it's a completely different route that never existed, so there's no way to know for sure what's actually happening. I do quite like, though, what they did with this episode. I find that this show, it's most interesting when it does make me laugh. Like, I just have a lot more fun. But this was an episode that I'm just like, I kind of sit back and I say, you know what? I like seeing where the central 6 are at this point. Well, maybe central 7, because we also have to consider, the Mean Girls clique group and the popular girl there. So I guess between her, obviously Emilia, Patrick, and then we have the 4 heroes, or who were supposed to be the 4 heroes. That group is honestly interesting to me. It's funny though when you consider the fact that Emilia of all characters, who is so dense and oblivious, has to be the tutor. And it's funny because this group is like, oh, no one can help me because I have the best grade. And I'm like, wait a second. I was like, how stupid is this group? It's like, oh no, they all have better grades than her, but they're all scared to admit that they're smarter because they don't want to piss her off. And if this was a normal game row, they probably would have their heads cut off if they even applied they were smarter. Now she's actually very bubbly and adorable because she has Emilia as a friend, whether she likes it or not. I don't know, there's something about this episode that I just found, it was interesting. It was actually quite thought-provoking, and I'm interested to see what they're gonna do, because that cliffhanger with her, I don't think she's brainwashed, but I don't know, because those are some psycho eyes. Like, that's some real psycho energy, and as they say, they need her to defeat the Demon Lord, but I have to say, do we though? Because even though it makes sense you need some light magic in order to defeat some big great evil, Emilia could probably suck up anyone into a black hole and call it a day if I'm being totally honest. But we're trying to keep it down the straight and narrow, but I don't know, one wrong move and this kind of neutral friendship we built between the 3 guys could go up in smoke. But hey, let's take a W when we have it. Right now, things are looking up Emilia, even if someone has gone missing and they were ready to throw hands blaming her. Like, I don't know how I'd rank this episode, because in terms of pure enjoyment, there's definitely quite a few episodes that I've enjoyed more, but this one is so actually thought-provoking, and I think it feels rewarding, right? Because we only have a few more episodes left of Season 1. We have no idea if we're going to get a Season 2, but these are the types of episodes that feel like it rewards your time, saying, hey, you probably jumped in, you were having fun, you were laughing at the stupidity of this Emilia girl summoning black holes and dragons left and right, but here's a lot of payoff and build-up, and now here's a big moment of, we don't know where this plotline is going. It could completely blow up everything, all the progression we've made, or make it so the last character who's been skeptical of her actually joins forces, because honestly, she has the most reason to be skeptical of Emilia when she literally looks like a black ball of evil death. But overall, I'd actually argue this is probably one of the best episodes of the show, because it does reward your patience in seeing where all these different things are going. And honestly, for many, you might even come out of an episode like this and say, oh, honestly, I thought it was just more goofy than anything, but this actually rewards it with honestly pretty proper character writing. But that's just me. What did you think of this episode? I actually thought it was a banger, but let me know what you're feeling down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more. And like I mentioned, we have a full live reaction over on my Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Akito, David Bennett, James the Beast, Eris Cataris, Eder Canadas, and Justin Haas. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.